Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is episode 4 of Blair Witch Season 1. So, welcome in. I am Strange Tangent, joined as always by the amazing and lovely Red Panda. So, welcome. If you have not seen our previous episodes 1 through 3 at this point, don't worry. Up in the corner, right up there, will be a quick link to that playlist, and you can be able to check it out. So hope everyone's doing well. Welcome in. We got obviously the holiday spirit. Every once in a while, we get there we go. I don't know why my music was up so loud, but there we go. So every once we get that holiday spirit. So every once in a while, it looks like my head has a little Santa hat on it. But that's Gengar hiding back there. Looks like Gengar was trying to deck the halls, I think. I don't know what Gengar was up to, but looks like the lights are going all over the place back there. So there you go. But welcome in. It is episode 3. I will restate just in case. If you didn't see a second ago, there was a link up above that would take you to the playlist for episodes 1 through 3. This is episode 4, not episode 3. Episode 4. But we are going to be summarizing that here real quick. So spoiler warning, if you haven't seen those, then go check those out now. Let's get this up here. All right. So first, real quick, a little recap of where we're at with the case. So last episode was a absolute doozy of an ending for everything. So it was absolutely crazy. First Liam was taken. Now Tristan was taken. So now not only are we looking for one person, we're looking for 2 people, hoping that they are both still alive somehow. With the fact that we, know that they were taken by this Carver person. So these are both of Rosemary Kent, who is our contact. These are both of her children. Rosemary is trying to figure some stuff out. And I think that last episode, it was deemed that she was probably going to figure a way out to go find him and go after him himself.
Mad.
Oh,
Mad.
Very mad mama bear. Absolute mad mama bear. So let's see. So we did have, I know that she had enlisted some help from Anthony and a few other ways as well. So we'll dive into, I think that pretty much sums it up at this point. I know they got lost out in the woods. We had some weird timing stuff going on when they were out doing a search party thing of, their watch would say one thing, and then, after that, then they would come back out of the woods, and, like all of a sudden it was dark when their watch thought that it was only 1 p.m. Or something along those lines, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So we'll dive hopefully more into some of that mystery of the woods, but I think that's pretty much it. Can you think of anything else summary wise?
If there's any other big stuff, may think of something as we go, but not at the moment. Yeah.
No worries. All right, so chat, we will get into episode 4, and let's get started. We'll head over to the investigation room, and let's start with episode 4 now. All right. Actually, let's open up the evidence room first. There we go. Okay, so we've got our little checklist here. Okay. Yep. Sorry, apparently my audio levels are all messed up today.
No, it's hard to concentrate.
All right. Well, I mean, stream.
Okay.
Blasting on stream, people couldn't hear me, and
that's all.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to come.
So real quick, we've been getting asked about this a lot in our videos on comments, so we'll just make sure that for this episode, there you go. There is that code that you may need right there. Boom. So there you go. All right.
We got goodies.
So, yep. So let's see what we have.
That card you'll need for the inventory, won't you?
Oh, yep.
Sorry.
You're okay.
I have a compass. Maybe I'm here. I have a
All right.
theory. I have a theory. I
So
think. Oh, it's
compass
a
and magnifier.
magnifier.
Okay.
So not a
Magnifying
mirror.
glass, compass.
Okay. I have a theory. Time is different in the woods. Like it freezes or something.
Okay.
Because two of the groups went in and came out really late, while one group went into the woods and came out really early. Like they went
Maybe.
for 4 hours, but they always had an hour passed for their watches.
Yeah. That's
So
crazy.
it's kind of interesting that like the people who went east had like an hour missing of their day, and the people who went west and north had like a massive amount of time missing from their day.
Oh yeah, no,
Ooh.
yeah, we're good. Exquisite.
This is big.
All right. Yeah, that map. Yeah, it's big.
Super exciting.
Unfortunately, I could not make a copy of this one.
Okay,
FedEx
nice.
was having issues,
Okay.
and I was not able to make copies. So when we get this put into the Discord, just know that it is a photo of that map, so it's not going to be as detailed when you're looking at it digitally. There is a lot of writing and stuff that's on here that's very tiny. So that is something that unfortunately the digital side you won't be able to see really
This
from that.
crazy. Did you see the font on this thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I was
Oh my
trying to get
gosh.
over to FedEx to really make a full,
Well, I can take
like
photos.
high res,
I can take photos of like the different
yeah, like
areas
high
if we need
res
to.
scan of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but that's probably why there's a magnifying glass.
Oh yeah, no. I don't need no magnifying glass. I really
Right?
need my glasses. Yeah, I know.
So yeah, so we have the map. Okay. Do you have a letter from Rosemary?
Confirm.
Okay. Next up should be Carver's message.
Yep.
All right, and Anthony's notes.
Looks like it.
Okay. We should have a historical reenactment script.
Okay. Anthony's just an artist. He's a writer.
Right.
He wrote that book last episode. Like, at least the forward of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and then we should have
the
an
act.
account of search party expedition.
Ooh, old school. Like to 1886, guys.
Okay.
Interesting.
Way back.
Very. The cursive handwriting gives it away pretty good.
Right.
Some fancy font.
And then building records is
Yep.
the next one. Okay. And then we already said the map, the magnifying glass, and the compass. So the total 9 items all for this episode. And there you go.
I think that's the museum.
Is that the museum?
I think so.
I think so, yeah. Maybe is that part of the remodel stuff, or maybe not?
Possibly. It just looks a lot like the museum, just like
Yeah.
size wise.
Well, it says I think down here, yeah, there you go. It says that she needs a basement, so he expects company soon, things like that. There we go.
Currently, the building's alive.
Looks like we got a bunch of writing
Ooh,
on the back as well.
I like this.
All right.
If you didn't notice, trying to draw some attention here.
Right. Okay. So.
Okay. Cool. Where are we starting?
So lots of different stuff that we have available here, and then that we can get going with. So let's. I would probably say we need to start with Rosemary's letter. So each square an hour. Okay.
I did not notice that the first time I was touching this. I don't know if anyone can see it there.
Yep, there it goes. All right.
So,
so I would say we'd probably start with Rosemary Kent's letter.
Right. Sounds
and
good.
go from there.
All right.
And if I haven't welcomed everyone in, I'll take a quick chance to do all of that. So thank you for joining us on the live stream as we record this for YouTube as well. So Rec, welcome in. Katie, Thunder, hello. And Exquisite, hello. All right. There you go.
If you want to start reading that letter, I'll get a photo of this really quick so we can get it up in Discord.
Yeah, absolutely.
Since you didn't get a photo, right? You still didn't get a photo.
No, I did get a photo.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I took a photo. I was saying that it's a photo of the whole thing.
Yeah, not
so you're not going to be able to zoom in and read what it says. So that's why I was trying to get to FedEx was so that it would do a higher res that we could actually zoom in on it, but unfortunately we won't be able to. All right.
Was it wanting in Discord?
What was it that you were wanting posted in the Discord? The map? I'll get that posted here in a second.
You want me to go ahead and read the note then, since I don't take a photo of that?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, if you want to read
Yep.
that,
Okay.
that works.
So we'll work on getting everything in the Discord for you guys while I read this to you. All right, so this is
and if
from
you're not in the
Mama.
Discord, now's your chance to hit that join on that Discord link right there in the chat. Otherwise, if you are watching this later and you're not a member of our Discord, please feel free to join. It'll be down in the description down below. Also, if you're watching this later, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. That helps us tremendously. So, oh yeah. We're gonna get so we'll get everything put in the Discord here while Red
chomping
Panda,
at the bit.
right? While Red Panda's reading over the Rosemary Kent letter, I will get that placed in. So let me get over here to this room right there. So we at least have let's make it so you all can actually see it. There you go.
All right. Hello.
All right. There you
Hello.
go. What?
I said hello.
Oh,
And
hi. Hello.
I realized I was wrong, so I
Hi.
waited. And
Hello.
instead of being like really chipper, I was like, hello. Like, all right. Carver left me another message a few nights ago. He left a note right on my
Wait,
front
what happened to
doorstep.
hello?
You took care of it for me, dear.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Is it me? Hello? It's me?
You're looking for it? Let's
Okay,
see.
I'll let her read it this
I'm
time.
like,
Sorry.
struggle lesson. All right, we're starting over again. Hello. Carver
Hi.
left me another message a few nights ago. You're bad as a Furby. All right. He left a note right on my front doorstep. Of all the sick, invasive, downright evil things to do, hasn't the son of a gun done enough to me? When will I have suffered enough? When I think about him slithering around out in the woods, looking at my house from the tree line and peering into my windows, my head gets light and I get so nauseated that I feel as though I might be dying. I can't sleep at all anymore. Every night I just sit up on the porch or in Tristan's bed with Hud's old shotgun in my lap until the sun finally rises. Sometimes I'll hear a noise in the night and run toward it, finally ready to pull the trigger on this lunatic. But it's only ever the wind. I haven't shown Lanning Carver's message. Oh, I haven't shown Lanning Carver's message. It'll just get sent off to some lab where it'll gather dust on a shelf for months, if not years. Even if it gets fast-tracked, what good would it do? The sheriff's office already knows where he is, and they're still not finding him. The forest is too huge and confusing for them to handle. It's time to take this completely into my own hands, like I should have done from the beginning. There's no point in spending another second in this house or this town. My sons aren't here. They're in that forest. Carver's only gotten cockier over these past few months. At this point, he wants me to come out and find him. Something in that note has to give us some sort of context as to where he's hiding. Luckily, even if the lead is obscure, we've got a bona fide expert on the Black Hills Forest on our side. It took a while to convince Anthony to help me collect what we need. He kept trying to talk me down at first. Eventually, I had to grab him by the shoulders, look him dead in the eyes, and tell him that there's already one man standing between me and my sons. That one man is already one too many, and that friendship or no, I'm prepared to bring that number to zero by any means necessary. That finally convinced him to relent. Anthony gathered most of what I'm sending you from the museum attic. He said that since the forest is so dangerous, my best chance of making a successful journey out there was to study the accounts of people who made the trip into the woods and lived to tell the tale. You'll need to cross-reference the map with the historical accounts Anthony has given us, and find the location of Carver's hiding place. When you figure it out, send me the correct map coordinates on the tip line. The new password is Echo 12. Even though I'm going to be totally alone out there, I have faith that the help I get from the outside is going to see me through. Rosemary. I had to grab him by the shoulders and look him in the eyes.
Right.
No one's standing between me and my children. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Everything's uploaded into Discord for you all,
Yay.
including the Good Fences thing that we'll take a look at as well from the hintcase.com desktop site that we have. Fortunately, I was having some issues today with my other computer that I couldn't get the blog itself into a PDF format, but we'll take a look at those as well, just on stream. So it looks like so we need to. So my understanding from this is that we'll need to cross-reference. So we're looking for where he's hiding.
Yeah, basically
So
we're looking for
it
like
looks
his encampment or
like-
something like that.
find the location of Carver's hiding place. Okay. So that is what we're looking for the KCase.com site where you can find the good fences and along with the blog posts. This is that password right there. All right. So next up would be possibly Carver's letter. Do we want to take a look at it real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. In your packet of stuff that I put together for you, just so you know, there are some pages that are where I pulled the transcripts from
perfect.
the
For the
page.
handwriting?
Yeah,
Oh,
for the
that's
handwriting.
so
So
awesome.
if you did not know this the hints, recaps, and solutions page that they have for Blair Witch, that also has stuff that if you're having trouble reading some handwriting stuff, such as like this, then you can go to the hints, recaps, and solutions page and scroll all the way down. And down there will be some accessibility things as well, so that you can actually read it in this format rather than in the format of the cursive and the handwriting that sometimes can be a little bit harder to read. Okay, so we have this is the letter from Carver, so I think this would be a good place to start. Since we know that Carver is for some reason tormenting Rosemary.
I think he really is getting a kick out of it. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I feel like he's got some bad blood for him and HUD for some reason.
Yeah. Here, if you want, can you next to the reindeer glasses is the light. I can get that turned on for you, and you can just set it back up there
What's it for?
to add more light on that side.
Blind me? You mean? Don't look at the light, guys. Don't look at it.
Right, it's off camera, but just to add a little bit more light to it. All right.
That's funny.
Okay, so we've got. All right, you want me to read this letter from Carver?
Sure.
Okay, this is the one that's where we're at with that.
Yeah, oh, do you want me to work on the cipher actually while you're reading the letter?
We can have I think Exquisite is ready to help with that cipher
Perfect.
as well.
Yes, let's do that.
So
I just wanted to get photos of these so I can post them in Discord so people have these.
Yeah, that works. Okay, so we've got the boys, or his Rosemary. The boys keep calling out into the woods for you, and you never answer them. You've really been letting them down over these past few months, haven't you? In fact, you've been letting them down for their entire lives. Never able to protect them, to comfort them, to realize the depth of their pain. At least now you'll never be able to fail them again either. Remember when you would play hide and seek with Liam when he was little? How he would always hide in the roots of that gnarled old tree at the very edge of the forest. I'd watch from the tree line, seeing you pretend to search everywhere, even though he always hid in the same place. I'm sure you wish it was that easy now, but this game is going to be a fair measure more challenging. You're not going to be able to just waltz into the woods and stumble upon the light of my campfire. That's not what she wants. She wants you to suffer, and so do I.
Glad we got that cleared up.
Right? But if you're smart enough, maybe you'll be able to find your way to your sons. Maybe you'll even get a glimpse of dear old HUD. Oh, and in case you haven't figured it out yet, there's a reason that your search parties have failed to find me for so long. Sunlight conceals the truth of the forest. To see the light of my fire, you'll have to enter after dark. I don't need to tell you to come by yourself. I already know you will. All right, and then we've got a little cipher there as well at the bottom. Exquisite. Would you like to solve that cipher, or anyone else in chat that might want to help out? I think it is. Yeah, it should be the same cipher as before, right?
It is.
Yeah, it's
anyway.
same site. Yeah, it's
I
the
sure recognize it, yeah.
the
The Leo statue thing.
Carver.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Carver one.
It's
because he uses the same one every time.
Exactly. Yep.
Did you have that one? I can't remember if that was one of the ones that you had the stuff for. or if Red Panda was the one to solve the Carver ones.
I kind of hand wrote it out. Um,
Okay, Red Panda did the Carver ones,
well,
so
yeah, I
you'll need
hand
to
wrote
do
it
that
out.
one
Yeah,
then.
okay.
Yeah, I think. Oh, that's right. You did the ones
She did
from Liam's.
Liam's,
Yeah,
yeah,
Liam's stuff.
because he had the pig pen in the other one.
That's right.
Yeah. She said, yeah. As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, that's right.
All right. Well, then, while Red Panda works on that,
This is my horrible chicken scratching last time. I don't draw symbols. I don't claim to. It's not my forte.
all
Do
right.
not hold me
So,
All right.
if you want to get latch at, so that building, the one with the building on it and stuff.
Yeah.
This is what happened when I first tried copying it.
It's so fancy.
It turned like
It got
a
blobby.
very bright green,
Dude,
like
it did.
neon green,
That's bizarre.
neon yellowish green.
That was like totally right.
Like, yeah, they're the copier did was not calibrated, so yeah. All right, so we got next up is the History Museum. This is from Anthony. Let's take a. I'm gonna take a look at that. If you're okay with me reading over this while you go.
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. So since Rosemary is truly hellbent on doing this, so this is a letter to us from Anthony. So he's not writing anything to Rosemary. So since Rosemary is truly hellbent on doing this, and you're the one who's managed to help her get this far already, I'm going to do everything in my power to arm the both of you with as much information as possible. I collected a few things I think will help you navigate the forest. 3 historical documents, a map, a magnifying glass, and a compass. The 3 historical documents have each been taken from the museum's archives. I'm including them because they each convey the experience of someone who spent a prolonged period of time in the forest and came out more or less intact. I hope they'll provide some guidance on how to get your bearings in the woods and how to navigate between 3 of its major landmarks in particular once you do. I imagine the map and its accompanying instruments will be useful on that front as well. As far as I'm aware, the map itself is the most geographically accurate account of the forest to date. That's including satellite imagery. Digital imaging of the area has always proven to be a challenge. There's actually a very interesting history behind the map and the man who made it. Emmanuel Ramos was a renowned surveyor and cartographer who was hired by a now defunct sawmill to chart out the area in 1953 after a number of the facility's employees began to complain that none of the maps of the area were accurate. As the story goes, Ramos became obsessed with the forest during that period. When he turned in the map, he told sawmill officials that traditional directions don't work in the forest, and that instead, travelers had to move according to the cues that the land itself gives them. He said he considered the cues to be cardinal. That strikes me as a melodramatic way to describe the cartographic process, but I suppose that he'd earned the right at that point, seeing as he'd successfully charted a region that had confounded his colleagues for centuries. The record on Ramos gets a little hazy after that. He completely fell off the map, so to speak, within a year of completing the project. The compass and magnifying glass I'm passing on to you belong to Ramos as well. Maybe using them will help you see the forest the same way he did. Alright, I admit that I'm rambling on about obscure historical facts, so that I don't have to put my feelings into words. Detective, I want you to know that Rosemary is the strongest person I've ever met. She's managed to stand so tall for so long in the face of such unbelievable loss. But at the end of the day, she's only human, and the forces she's going up against aren't. Please do the best you can to see her through this. Anthony. Alright. So interesting stuff with the map then. That may be then tied in. So that compass on the back of it says every square an hour. So my guess is that
Every
every square you travel
walking.
means 1 hour of time. So if, depending on how fast somebody traveled, may mean then a shorter or longer time frame. It doesn't really matter how long they were in the woods. It just matters how far they traveled in the woods. So like if you so let's say you get two people that both enter the woods at the same time and exactly 1 hour later return back out of the woods.
Right.
So if person A travels 3 squares, that's 3 hours of time in that 1 hour. So the real world travels.
Oh, I get it. So you're basically saying it's not the amount of time they spent in the woods; it's the amount of squares they got to travel.
Doesn't matter
in
how
the amount
many.
of time
Yeah,
they
correct.
were in the woods.
Correct. Yes.
Right.
And then and so then person B would only be if they only went 1 square in that hour.
Yeah.
Then they would come back out in 1 hour.
Okay. You have the Q stuff up ready yet? I think I have this, but it's also kind
The
of
Q stuff.
like the hints.
Oh, I do not. I mean, I have the page open, yes, but I don't have it actively. Are you looking for? What are you looking for?
I just wanted to make sure I'm doing this correctly because I'm starting to question it.
Okay. It doesn't say that document specifically for a reveal. It just says hiding place 1 hint, hiding place 2 hint, hiding place hint number 3, number 4, number 5, all the way through number 7.
Oh.
So it doesn't actually break it down.
So it's not. Hold on. It's not.
However, here Carver's message will give you a hint as to where Carver is hiding in the forest. You can use the following chart to decode Carver's message. That's the one you have.
I'm really confused by one of the words. Does it actually say the message or not?
This is the hint. I can
Okay. There's just one specific word I'm struggling with.
Do this real quick.
Here you go. There's just one specific word I'm struggling with because the symbols are so similar, and they're very squished.
No. You're good, Exquisite. No, you are good. Okay. Is that it?
I'm just going to read you what I have. Find us where a shred of propriety was lost.
Find us where a shred of propriety was lost. Yeah.
Okay, what the heck's propriety? I don't understand. I was hoping I screwed up because I was very confused.
The quality or state of being proper or suitable. Let's see. See what else definitions it falls under. Conformity to what is socially acceptable in conduct or speech. Or customs and manners of polite society. Considered propriety. It's also considered fear of offending against conventional rules of behavior, especially between the sexes. It says there's 2 other definitions that are viewed as obsolete, but it would be true nature or a special characteristic. It's obsolete in that one because it was replaced. Now you have peculiarity is used for a special characteristic, but maybe
standards.
Yeah, so the quality or state of being proper or suitable, so
Okay.
appropriateness. So I'm thinking in this phrase, if he's trying to give a hint at where he's at, maybe it's using the obsolete one, which is a special characteristic.
Okay. We'll come back to it. I'm sure there'll be more later. That it's a little better.
So, okay.
All right, what's next?
Wait, let me reread that again. Okay, hold on. Find us where a shred of
He's like shred of decency.
right? So maybe like some sort of like appropriateness or shred of
Appropriateness was lost. Like,
shred of
we'll probably get more as we go along.
conformity. Maybe I don't know.
You're good. We'll probably
Yeah.
understand more when we go along. I do need to still read all the map pieces. We can keep going for now.
Maybe decency or morality or yeah. So these are some synonyms for it. So yeah.
What's
Okay.
what's
So just to read what you got, we would find out if it was wrong. Okay, so next up,
at least it doesn't make sense in the context we have now. So let's keep going and we'll see what we get.
Yeah.
I bet even proprietary was lost in the old document.
Maybe, yeah.
Carver's timeless, right?
Yep.
So.
Okay, so we read over the letter from Anthony. I don't know that there's really, other than just saying, I feel like that the map, the compass, and the magnifying glass all.
This part? I missed that part.
Yeah, I asked you if it was okay if I read it.
You're good. I thought I was listening, but apparently I was
not. So really, I think from here it just talks about how the history of the map. So this just is covering that it came from a old person named Ramos, and that he was the only person to be able to go in and this is how I figured out the whole like time for the going through, because he said that it's not, you can't use normal like directions. You have to use the cues of the forest.
So north, south, east, west doesn't exist.
Pretty much.
That makes sense, because that's why they kept falling into the same river, and why they kept ending up the same hollow at random
exactly.
times.
So, but it's also the most. They said it was the most accurate to date of the area. And that includes satellite imagery, because they have difficulty with digital imaging of trying to get a satellite image of the area, because it keeps
the radios
not working.
don't work. So,
right.
Yeah,
radios didn't work, stuff like that. So, yep. So next up is going to be, let's take a look at, so we have the history script, the historical reenactment script. We can go over that if you want. Does that work? Okay. So on the front of the script is just a little note, it looks like, from Anthony, because it just has -A on it. So this says that this script is a section of a historical play that I staged a few years ago titled The Past Never Dies, a first-person anthology of tales from Old Blair. This particular scene is a dramatization of the Honorable Judge Jonathan Goodneighbor's journal entries, written just a few months before his death in 1785. Goodneighbor's journal was originally found in the walls of the museum during HUD's renovations. A rat had made its nest out of the pages, but the few sections that were still legible have provided a fascinating insight into the trial and condemnation of the alleged Blair Witch. While the lack of concrete information regarding the accused witch's death, those particular pages have been long since lost, forced me to take a number of creative liberties and make some educated guesses. All of the information on the directions that Goodneighbor took in the forest itself are accurate to history. Figure something out while reading the building plans? Okay. All right, let's take a look at that real quick then. So this is the building plan. So we've got what we're guessing, or I'm pretty sure I agree, is the museum. So talking about that she wants, I don't know who this writing is from, but she wants me to build.
I'm betting
it's whoever I'm guessing built the original museum.
What do you think?
Yeah. Window in the attic. She told me the spot. Plaster interior. Cement exterior. Stick built, stone foundation. She needs a basement. She expects company soon.
You print off the back part of this that was typed up.
Yes. So there's your one that I gave you that was your copy that's folded in half. There it is. And then there is also in here should be all right. Yeah, that she. Yeah, more than likely. Yeah, that she is the Blair Witch. I agree. That's what it's referencing. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff written on the back of this map with some stuff arrowed to it. So let's. I did put in the Discord is the transcript of all of that to make it a little bit easier for us. So, so what else did you? So what do you? You said you figured something out. So, is it that you figured it out reading from all the notes on the back or on the front? Asking because she did mention that she figured something out on the back. Okay. Uh. Okay. So what did you see that popped out or that you figured out with it?
It was the museum after all.
The South Museum. Okay, I gotta read it. Okay. All right, so this is an architectural drawing complete with a series of handwritten notes. It's been on file at the museum ever since Kip's Hardware Depot collapsed in the mid 1940s due to a devastating infestation of parasites and mold that the original owners couldn't afford to repair. The lot stood empty until Mike and Bob's convenience store was built in 1951. It pains me to part with this piece of local history, but I don't think that anybody at the museum besides me will even notice its absence, and I know that you're going to put it to good use. On the back of it, or this is also then on the back saying, Mr. Kip, a fellow stopped by the store as I was closing up just now. Okay, so yeah, so this would be from the store, maybe? I don't know. A fellow stopped by the store as I was closing up just now. Damn near gave me a heart attack since I could have sworn that I had already locked the front door. It was that guy who's been living out in the woods. Can't for the life of me remember his name, even though I swear that he introduced himself to me. He bought supplies, nails, shingles, things like that. Said that his place was damn near falling apart. Drew me a picture and made some notes so that I could get an idea of the scope of the project. Said he might come tomorrow morning for more supplies. Wanted to give you a heads up about it in case you're the only one in, because frankly, he doesn't seem to be entirely right in the head. He was caked in dirt, and there were all manner of rotting leaves and pieces of sticks tangled in his beard, and he kept trailing off in the middle of his sentences. But surprisingly, he had enough money, and with the way business has been lately, I could hardly turn a customer away. Ned. P.S. Where'd all the scrap paper that we usually keep under the counter go? I went to look for something to write on a note on, but this drawing was the only paper on hand. It's in the last note to Mr. Kip, so you can't. So you can't skip anything. Okay. All right. Mr. Kip, you're not going to believe this. Just now, I was closing down the store when I heard a dull scratching sound coming from the wall behind the register. Remember last spring when the rats got in the walls? It sounded like that, so I headed to the basement to get the traps. I was only away for a few seconds, but when I came back upstairs, the hermit was in the store again. He was scraping something along the wall with a rusty old knife. I hollered at him to cut it out. He stopped, but he didn't even apologize. Just turned around and demanded that I sell him a shovel because she needed his basement to be deeper. Can't believe a guy like that managed to land himself a wife. I had him pay extra on account of the damage he did to the wall. Looks like he carved a bunch of stick figures. Would you mind painting over those when you get the chance? I'd do it myself right now, but it's late and I frankly got a pretty bad case of the heebie-jeebies just looking at the things right now. Ned. Mr. Kip, guess I can just use this sheet as a running log of hermit updates. He visited again towards closing today. Said he needed an extra pair of hands to help him with the project because it needed to be done fast. Offered me a good amount of money to help him out on my day off from the store tomorrow, and I said yes. Thought I'd let you know just in case, and don't worry, I'll be bringing my hunting knife just in case he's really as off his rocker as people around town say. Kip, I know it's my day off, but I stopped by to tell you to ban that hermit from the store. Guess you're out on your lunch break. But listen, the man's a menace. I met him on the edge of the forest at sunrise today to walk up to his house. We started on the path to the lumber mill, but soon veered off from the path entirely. We walked in one direction for what I would judge to be 5 hours. As we walked, the hermit would occasionally mutter under his breath to himself, like he'd completely forgotten that I was there at all. I could barely hear what he was saying, but I thought that I could make out something about heading toward the hoard of bones. We eventually reached a stream, and when we did, it was like he suddenly remembered that I existed again. He turned to me and he started talking about how there's a part of the forest where she pinned the shadows in place with pine needles, and that he made sure to build his place as far away from them as he could. He said that his cabin was another 3 hours down the river, away from the still shadows. He told me that I should count myself lucky that I wouldn't have to see those shadows just yet. Maybe it was just because I was spooked, but in the moment, it sure as heck sounded like a threat. I made some excuse about forgetting that my ma wanted me home by lunch, and said that I couldn't help him out with his repairs after all. Then I all but ran back to town. I just thought you should know that I'm not going to be serving him anymore. If he comes into the store again, I'm just going to hide out in the basement until I hear him leave. I know that's not very professional, but it's the only thing I can think I'll be able to do if I see him again. And that's God's honest truth. I'll see you tomorrow, Mr. Kip. Ned. You right? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that the hermit is Carver.
Oh, completely.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. I also think on that map there was mentioning of the bones thing, and then also the other one.
Okay.
Like 5 hours, right? So we just count 5 squares.
Right. Draken, welcome in.
Definitely saw the bones thing. The eyeless creatures hoard their bones.
All right.
You said something about the creek, right?
Yeah, that they got to a creek or to the river or creek
It's
or
the
whatever
only
it
creek.
was, and then so they started on the path to what was it to
I'm betting it's this right here. It's like a path that goes out to the outpost, right?
yeah, probably, but then they veered out. So
Oh, here we go. Didn't he say something with this? So the sun moves through the sky, the shadow of the pines stay fixed in place. Did he say something about that?
yep,
That's right here.
okay, and he wanted to be as far away from that as possible.
It's over here, but they crossed this river. Or they were going to. The one kid ran away. But...
Oh, there's another one that is over there though, another river that goes off that way.
Oh, that's interesting, because yeah, they said there was only the one river.
Well, I mean, it splits off of this, so maybe yeah.
What was the other part of the wording?
So it's here, let me. So right here is where that phrase was just said about the shadow of the pines.
I'm just trying to figure out what the other phrase I'm looking for is.
You are looking for
Something about shattered skulls?
So we started on the path to the lumber mill. I don't know if that's the lumber mill or if this is the lumber mill. Creekside Timber Company.
It was a timber company outpost.
Right. So I'm thinking this is the lumber mill. That's just an outpost.
Well,
What does that
know
say?
what
Do you have the do you have a magnifying glass?
Lost souls weep from nostalgia and regret.
Okay.
This one talks about shattered skulls, so I remember something about shattered skulls.
There is, but soon veered off from the path entirely. We walked in one direction for what I would judge to be 5 hours. So as they were on the path, they veered off and then went 5 squares.
Right, but the 5 hours part, what after that? I'm trying to find
right,
this
yeah, I
and
know.
that match.
Sorry. As we walked, the hermit would occasionally mutter, blah, blah, blah. but I thought that I could make out something about heading toward the horde of bones.
Not
So,
shattered skulls. That's the... Oh, here I saw the eyeless creatures hoard their bones.
okay.
It has this and this. Oh wait, he said far away from this, so this is telling us the opposite end of the map. So this is what we care about.
Yeah. So. Oh, so this must be where, right
So
here.
they walked a little bit and then veered off. Okay.
Yeah.
What about
So
after the hoarding their bones part?
So let me get that map pulled up so they can see it real quick. So what we just were looking at, chat, was this. So this part right here. Let me close that real quick. There it is. Interact. Okay. So there's a path that is on the map that kind of goes this way, right, and connects to that there, which then leads up. So the box over here is where he was talking about the shadows. So this is the shadowed pines area. And then he was saying that they started on the path, but then quickly veered off. So if you go from here and they started on the path and then they veered off and then they went straight, 5 hours. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, which puts them up here, and that's square with the about the bones thing. And then he said his place was 3 hours, right?
3 more hours, but what direction?
Downriver. So my guess is maybe
So
because he wanted to build it as far away
this
from the
would be
thing.
that
So my
way,
guess
so
is
it'd be
that
1,
direction.
2, 3.
So my guess is that
Oh, did we just figure out the puzzle?
so we went this way, 1, 2, 3, and then we would be talking about in this square
I would
here.
say it's R7. We want to see if we're right. We want to keep going.
Let's look through some more of the stuff real quick, because there's a lot of documents we haven't been through.
I know, yeah.
So downriver would be to the left.
See, the thing though is, he said he wanted to be as far away from this as he could be.
So you think over here? Because I don't know. I don't know which way this water. I mean, it could be coming
It
from
could be flowing either way, couldn't it?
that this could be downriver, or it could be that it's coming from this direction going that way.
Actually, that might be why this Creekside Timber Outpost is there, because whichever direction, maybe they're floating logs down and hauling them off to the plant somehow. Or
Right,
something.
maybe.
This is the one on the river, and normally timber companies are on the river intentionally so
Mhm.
they can use water to transport the logs. I don't know. It does not have any direction on which way the river's flowing. And honestly, based on how it forks like this, I would think it's flowing this direction.
Yeah, but see how this like branches off? This would. So I could see how that could indicate here that this is the start of like from ridges and stuff like that where the water collects from rain and begins your water flow.
Oh,
Because
see,
your water flow
I
this
always
way
thought the
wouldn't
bigger
necessarily.
water flows and then it trickles off into tinier streams. Is that the opposite?
I mean, it can, yeah. Depends.
I always thought it just took the path of least resistance and it would
Right.
slowly carve out a own little snaking along.
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way.
Yep.
Is there any other descriptions though? You said something about 3 hours. What was after that?
So He said his cabin was another 3 hours down the river, away from the still shadows.
So if the
So
still
I'm
shadows
thinking
are
it's to
here,
the
it's
right.
gotta be that way.
Yeah.
Or that way. It's just if he's
He
heading down
told
the
me that
river,
I
he
should
wouldn't
count
want to walk
myself
farther.
lucky that I wouldn't have to see those shadows just yet.
Hold on a second.
And then he left.
I don't know. Let's keep going for now. We'll come back.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll come back. Clear. Let's take a look at... We were looking at the...
We were doing the play, weren't we?
Yeah, the play, yep. So... Because he said something about in the play that there was some movements or something in here too, right? I think.
It explained more about the landmarks of the forest and how to navigate better.
That's right.
Because his play was about the lumber company, wasn't it?
It's about Good Neighbor.
Oh, it's about the judging. Of
Judge Good Neighbor and getting and catching the Blair Witch.
Okay.
Or not catching, but
punishing.
Punishing or whatever it could be. So this is the journal of Jonathan Goodneighbor, recorded this horrid evening. So 1785. So this is Goodneighbor. So basically, the act of Goodneighbor paces the floor of his bedroom and crosses to his desk. Sitting, he prepares his journal and writes. So town folks complain of witchcraft. Many children bear the same mark on their wrists from where she carved and siphoned blood. It was told to me that she collected the blood into several small bowls and arranged them in her cellar into some satanic symbol. I, being a godly man as well as a man of the law, ordered an investigation to be conducted at once. An hour's walk into the forest, we discovered the old woman's home, encircled with fencing of wood bound in twine. Rushing inside and to the fruit cellar, we found her standing in the corner, as if expecting our arrival. I saw no sign of the ritual and no evidence of her working her craft. It made no difference. She had ample time to conceal her doings, and the children's testimony was damning enough. We bound the hag in shackles and carried her to meet justice. Goodneighbor leans back in his chair, deep in thought. He stands, crossing to the window to stare out at the town. In a loud, foreboding manner, we must put this witch on trial and submit her to her punishment with utmost haste. Then lights go out. All right. Goodneighbor angrily storms into the room. It is dimly lit by a single candle. A storm rages outside the window. His desk is cluttered with books. He sweeps his arm across the tabletop, throwing the mess to the floor. He sits and furiously begins to write. February 21st, 1785. Okay, hold on. Where are we at with that? First one was 17th, so this is a few days later. Though the children of Blair exposed her deeds, the old woman had nothing to say on the matter. Even when I bellowed at her in a most thunderous voice to reveal her true purpose, she said nothing. Finally, I was left with no option but to take a hot poker to her skin, a reminder of the everlasting hellfire which awaits all those who refuse to repent. She did not so much as flinch. No mortal could have withstood the scarring pain of that fire, and so it was proven in her silence that she was indeed wed to the devil. The trial was complete. The windows blow open, extinguishing Goodneighbor's candle. The stage is dark. Goodneighbor, shocked. Damn, Storm. A flash of lightning briefly illuminates the room, revealing an old woman watching Goodneighbor as he closes the window. He doesn't seem to notice her. The room returns to darkness, and when Goodneighbor relights his candle, she's gone. He continues. As I delivered the sentence, I expected some cry or protestation, and yet she sat staring at the wall with unfocused eyes. Come the morning, my companions and I shall bring the witch to a quiet place to carry out her sentencing. With a heavy sigh, Goodneighbor lays down his quill. Goodneighbor appears exhausted. He has heavy red scratches on the left side of his face and neck. His robes are torn and his boots are muddy. This is in his quarters. February 22nd. And so the courts have done their work, and the law has been upheld. Desiring to place distance between ourselves and the fair town, we traveled until we came upon a huge, bone-white rock. I suggested that we complete the deed there, as it seemed as good a spot as any. However, we soon began to hear a terrible noise, the sound of hundreds of crows cawing in the distance. I judged the birds to be an hour from our position at the rock, for their cries echoed in a most loud and ominous manner. Doubtless an omen, as they crowed in the distance. We pummeled the witch as punishment for summoning the beasts. Still, she made no sound. Though the witch was silent, the forest was not. The sound of cawing crows still echoed from a particular region of the forest itself, as if the land had taken on the cries of the birds and amplified them 100-fold. As the others clutched their claws in pain and fear, I found myself clutching at my greatest comfort, a locket containing a lock of my dear wife, Propriety's hair.
Well,
So there you go, Propriety. Where Propriety was lost. So we thought
So
it
his
was
wife
some
was
word,
lost?
but it was, yeah. So this guy's wife, the judge, his wife. So I found myself clutching at my greatest comfort, a locket containing a lock of my dear wife Propriety's hair, to compose myself as I recited the Lord's Prayer. Unwilling to remain in the same vicinity as the beasts, we turned from our position at the rock and fled for 5 hours in total, going the opposite direction from which the cacophonous cawing had so ominously emanated. While we fled the noise, I noted that a certain region of the forest contained a number of trees that appeared to have been ravaged by a large creature of some sort. I warned my men to keep their wits about them. I was quite relieved when we left this particular area behind us. Our group continued straight forward on the course we had set away from the terrible noise. When the last sounds of the crows had faded and the forest was silent as the grave, save for the sounds of our party's footsteps, the witch finally broke her days-long silence. She requested that were she to be left to die, she would be left in a grove of trees that she often sat amongst in moments of silent contemplation. Oh yeah, that's right. Exquisite. True.
What?
But in those times, people were named after ideals to live by. We, being an honorable and compassionate group of men, obliged. She turned at a slight angle and led us in a new direction, with myself directly at her back, keeping a keen eye out for any sign of treachery, and my men behind me. As we walked, I began to hear behind me my men murmur dreadful utterances about how we and our children would be doomed for our trespassing and our violence. I turned and ordered them to be quiet, but each and every man insisted that they had not uttered a word. After traveling for 2 hours in the witch's chosen direction, we came upon a hollow with a white tree at its center. I moved to bind the witch to the tree, a twisted, dying thing. Seeking out one final opportunity to sate her bloodlust, the witch clawed at my face and neck as I bound her, screeching all manner of hellish condemnation and tearing the locket from my neck. It was then that my companions fled, leaving me to carry out the deed on my own. Perhaps they feared she would soon break free of her bindings, and so I was left alone to complete the task. Her strength surprised me, for the power of all that is holy remained on my side, and I succeeded in my efforts to subdue her. I completed the deed, and so full of fear that I momentarily forgot about the locket, turned my back on the witch to return home. As I left the hollow, I began to feel an agonizing sensation of burning on the back of my neck, as if 2 hot coals had been pressed into my very flesh. I did not turn around to see what was behind me. Instead, I began to run back to town, not slowing or turning back once for the entire journey. Regretfully, I must leave my beloved locket behind. A fear grips me that should I attempt to return to the forest again, I might not return home. From outside the window, the figure of an old woman in a dark and heavy cloak slowly approaches, watching good neighbor. I comfort myself with the knowledge that the witch's twisted heart will lie far away from civilized society forevermore. Still, I confess that I cannot forget the sound of her final cries and the terrible curse she uttered with her last gasping breath. But I comfort myself with the knowledge that at last this horridness is behind us. The old woman stands staring in through the window, no longer at Judge Goodneighbor, but at the audience. And boom, lights go out. Blackout. Dun, 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 like you said, exquisite. All right. So the note from Carver said where propriety was lost. So I'm guessing it's
Where
referencing
she
the
got
locket.
hung, which is that hollow where the tree is, right?
That's my guess.
Oh.
So it's a matter of figuring that out. So we figured out where the
us where a shred of propriety was lost.
So a shred of propriety would
Her
be
hair,
the hair,
a chunk of her hair,
which it was in the locket.
Yep.
So we need to figure that one out.
So what we figured out
So
before.
what we figured out before may not be the answer then.
Because that's what he basically was luring the guy to go build something, not where
Correct.
the woman died.
Right. Yeah, the hermit, which is way later.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we go through this again.
So let's take a look real quick. Let's look at the account of Search Party Expedition. This is from 1886.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, let's do that first before we come back to this part.
Yeah, let's look at this because I think there may be some more hints about how to navigate or something within the forest.
Yep.
Okay. So this is this stuff here. Okay, chat. So I'm gonna pull up the easier to read transcript. So, all right. So this is from Anthony. I've scanned a few journal pages of a young man named Lucius Masters for you. Mr. Masters was a member of a search party that combed through the forest for a number of days in the late 19th century, making several valuable, though largely unconfirmed and inexplicable, observations along the way. Masters' journals were passed. Yeah, absolutely. I think actually Red Panda may have been taking some pictures a little while ago.
Oh, you want to get those posted in the thing?
Of the writing that's on the map.
Yeah, I just had to zoom in really close, so like we'll have to put it in context for them, but I'll get them posted.
Yeah. There might be a way for me to add it to the map once you get it posted.
Well, there's a way I can do it, but I won't be able to do it this episode. Like,
Yeah.
It would be a different episode.
Okay, no worries.
But like, I can basically put the map in my pic collage thing and then type the writing over it.
That works. Yeah, I was thinking of just doing that in
I mean, you can try it now if you want.
Oh no, you're good. No worries, exquisite. It's all interactive when it's live, right? The whole point. All right. So we've got Master's journals were passed down through his family for years before being donated to the museum by a great granddaughter who was moving out of town and didn't want to carry much of the past with her. Hopefully her loss will be your gain. All right. So we've got all right, so March 14th, back in town now. Spent the day out in the forest once again. Traveled several hours past the Bone White Rock where we ended our search yesterday, but still to no avail. So Bone White Rock, is that labeled anywhere on the map?
That's what I
Was
saw.
it? Okay.
I mean, we had oak tree, Lupin Air, the crows feed at the blood red dusk. Crows.
Okay.
So an hour from there is probably where they were. Hear the vermin. Something in the bleak sunlight, but dance under the light of the moon. The sky shines bright. Something moon.
Okay.
Are nowhere to be seen. The heavy limbs of the trees are scarred with claw marks and carvings.
Okay.
The ground with its dreadful murmurs will cradle careless travels for eternity.
Yeah, that was that one.
Through the sun makes through the
Do you need
sky,
a
the shadows
better
of the
light?
pines stay fixed in place. No, I just have to squint.
Okay. So I'm guessing the rock would be somewhere down near town. Um,
The rock?
because yeah, the bone white rock.
Is that the first place they stopped?
That's where like in the script it was talking about that the men took the witch to and found a bone white rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in this one it says spent the day traveled several hours past the bone white rock where we ended our search yesterday, but still to no avail. So I'm guessing it has to be somewhere closer, but I don't know. So
Sorry. Let me get these photos.
hey,
of them
Wolffighter.
quick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay. So we 14 able-bodied men, volunteers from about town who know the area and its peculiarities well, have not been able to find any sign that another human being has ever been in these woods at all. It was tragic yet not unsurprising when that young girl became lost in the forest. It still disturbs me to the utmost degree, however, to think that the first group of men sent to search for her should disappear as well. Right? Absolutely. Not very many days left. All right, we, the 14 members of the second search party, count our friends and brothers and sons amongst the lost, and we have found neither hair nor hide of them, and not of the girl herself, for 2 days now. The only discovery of note thus far was that of a puddle of some viscous substance that none of us could rightfully identify, huh?
Thick substance.
Ah.
Like you call blood viscous.
Which one man nearly lost a boot to when he accidentally stumbled into it. Though I do not put much stock in the ghost stories used to frighten children in these parts, I still become deeply unsettled when I set foot into the forest. I feel as though a weight has been pressed upon my shoulders and a pair of eyes has focused on the back of my neck. That's probably the cold, like burning cold thing that was in the script. We will take up the search once again at sunrise. I hope that tomorrow's effort brings us greater success. Oh, nice, Wolffighter. Oh, yeah, the music thing from iHeart, yeah. All right. March 15th, 1886. All right, so we've got Mr. Robertson. So this is what this the next day? Yeah. The next day, Mr. Robertson, who misjudged the step into that strange puddle, returned this morning with a pair of borrowed boots. He complained that even though he had hung his boots above the fire all night, they continued to be soaked with that strange substance he stepped into. Near the end of the day's search, a member of our party called upon us to report that he had found a human tooth embedded into the gnarled stump of a white tree when he had attempted to set down to rest upon it. The men wasted almost an hour of daylight debating the tooth, half insisting it was indeed human, while half swore it appeared to belong to an animal. One young man named Thomas Gillard was frightened beyond belief by it, trembling like a leaf in a gale, as he insisted that the witch had set her gaze upon us. I stayed silent, as I did not know what I believed. We found nothing else of note, and when we returned to town, it was with heavy hearts and slumped shoulders, especially once we spied curious children and wistful wives watching us return utterly empty-handed. We all went to our homes, shaken and shamed. I am certain I will not be the only man tonight praying for some sign of the missing men. Nice, Wolffighter. That'll be good. Yeah, it should be a good little like music concert. All right. On the 16th, so next day, 2 days later from the initial date that we started reading, Thomas Gillard refused to return to the wood today. When the 13 of us came to collect him, we found that he had barred his doors and hung a cross in his window, and he refused to speak to any of us. We embarked without him. Though we encountered neither monsters nor witches, Strange events did occur during today's search. While I am by no means ready to join Mr. Gillard in his beliefs concerning witchcraft, I feel I must describe the day's events to assist my own understanding. We began our day much the same as we always had, by spreading out in a formation intended to cover as much ground as possible. We left perhaps 40 feet between each man to properly sight any potential clues. I can recall with absolute clarity Mr. Josiah Johnson, our party's leader, standing to my direct left. We came upon the large white rock once again and were about to set out from the stone when I noticed a faint sound. I listened closely to locate the source of the sound, and though it eluded me, it soon became apparent that the sound itself was that of a man calling for help. I turned to my left to alert Josiah, but saw another man instead. Mr. Johnson was now standing to my right, although I had not once veered from my course, nor had I seen another man cross my path. When I attempted to alert Mr. Johnson and the others of the noise, no other man seemed able to hear it, though it was only increasing in volume and desperation. Despite this, the men swore to me that the forest was silent as the grave. It was then I began to hear the voice screaming out my name. I insisted that we follow it. I must have seemed either quite sincere or quite desperate, because Mr. Johnson agreed to break from our planned course. From where we stood at the large white rock, we followed the stream toward the sound I heard. I almost as soon as we changed course, we came across a pile of dead rodents, 10 or more. So that must be the where the vermin lie.
Okay.
They appeared to have died fighting one another as their flesh was torn to shreds. We walked 2 hours in that same direction, the smell of their rot seeming to linger with us long after we had passed them. Then, as we neared a fork in the stream, we sighted a wisp of smoke in the distance, at an angle from our current course. It surprised us all, especially myself. I had been a resident of the town of Burkittsville for the better part of 20 years, and with the exception of certain old wives' tales, there had been no accounts of anyone taking up residence this far out in the woods. We turned slightly to head toward the smoke. We traversed 3 hours through ancient oak trees. I remember thinking the sound of the wind through the trees' leaves sounded not unlike the whispering of an old woman, and then I realized that I did not feel any wind upon my face. I was about to comment on the strange phenomenon of the wind to the other men when I spotted the cabin. The home was a small structure in ill repair. I would have thought it abandoned if it were not for the steady stream of thick smoke that floated from the chimney. We went closer to inspect it, which required us to navigate a very short stretch of hilled terrain. Our sightline of the house was interrupted by one of these hills, and when we managed to crest the hill itself and regain what should have been a direct sightline, the structure was gone. We searched the entire area, but not a single one of us could find any trace of the cabin again. The stream of smoke remained in the sky directly above where the cabin should have been. Mr. Johnson insisted that the sighting of the cabin and the smoke must have been no more than a trick of our own minds, experienced by many men due to our desperation. Though I took a small delight in not being the only man glimpsing some sort of phenomena, I could not help but think enviously of Thomas Gillard sitting in the safety of his home. Okay. Next day, March 17th. 2 members of our party vanished during our search. The first was Mr. Robertson, who seemingly disappeared into the thin air half an hour after he crossed into the woods. Some other man turned to call for him. I do not recall who, and then that calling intensified to a frenzy, and soon the whole search party was running about, searching for him. Some suggested that he may have turned coward and headed home, as Mr. Gillard had. But a moment later, we set eyes upon a small bundle of sticks, wound with a set of slime-covered bootlaces. Mr. Michaels disappeared shortly after. He volunteered to head back to town to see if he could find Mr. Robertson. As it turns out, he never completed his journey. When the remaining 11 of us returned to the end of a fruitless day, it was to the screaming hysteria of the town. Apparently, sometime during our excursion, someone had placed small wooden effigies in the shape of men on the doorsteps of Robertson's and Mitchell's homes. Though I did not know either of these men well, I am deeply affected by the strange and sudden loss Mr. Gillard lost. Mr. Gillard made the right decision when he chose to stay out of these woods. All right, last night, dreamt that I was alone in the woods in the dead of the night. As I stumbled around in the dark, I noticed two lights in the distance. They hovered among the trees for a long moment before being snuffed out, leaving me totally alone once again. I cannot help but believe them to be the souls of Robertson and Michaels, lost inside the labyrinth, or the labyrinth wood, or perhaps they were a pair of eyes. I awoke this morning covered in sweat with two small pinpricks upon the back of my neck. They continuously bleed no matter the amount of pressure that I place upon them. I tell myself again and again that it must be nothing other than a spot where I pricked myself upon a thorn or branch during yesterday's search. After summoning all of my remaining courage, I joined the search party once again. We numbered 5 in total today, as half of the remaining men have refused to join us again. About 3 hours into the day, Mr. Johnson claimed to have caught sight of a boot print. My hopes were momentarily lifted, and I ran to see his discovery. However, I tripped on the way over and hit my mouth on the rock that lay on the forest floor. Biting my tongue as I fell, my mouth filled with blood, which soon began to dribble out onto my clothing. I soon realized that the rock had knocked one of my front teeth out of my mouth, although I could not find it anywhere on the forest floor. Perhaps I swallowed it in my confusion and pain. That insult to injury, it soon became apparent that there had been no boot print on the ground after all. The men did what they could to aid me, but we decided to call the day's search short, as we deemed it unwise to separate and allow me to return to town alone. We returned minutes before sunset, although there should have been, by all accounts, been hours of daylight remaining. Let's see. Final day from this search. I have waited several days to collect myself, and I feel as though it is time that I recount what our party discovered on the 7th day of our search. We did indeed find the missing men from the first search party, but it was in no condition any man should be found. I would not wish the violence that was inflicted upon them even upon my worst enemy. We discovered them by the same large white rock we saw on our very first day of scouring of the woods. They were long dead and had been butchered like animals, all laid out upon the rock in some unnatural formation that I can only assume be some form of satanic glyph, as it matches the symbols drawn onto their bodies in intermingled blood. The authorities have arranged a search for a madman or men and posted guards on the road to town. The guards are to remain there at all hours, but something tells me the perpetrators will elude their grasp. Something tells me they cannot be grasped at all. All right. So the men showed up as if they've been dead for days near this big white rock.
Mind you,
They had started it. No, you're good. Have you had any luck?
What do you mean?
Oh, you're still doing the photos, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very close though.
No worries at all.
I'm just naming each of them so people will have a clue where at roughly they fall.
Oh, yeah. Like what
sense.
grid number they
So
are?
yeah, I'm choosing bright red so it'll show up easily, and I'm just like naming it so that they get an idea of where at on the map it's even at.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
I'm very close though. I'm almost
No, that is okay. In that case, what I am going to do is take a quick break because I need to go grab some more water. And I will be right back because that was a lot of reading. And we'll go from there, okay? So we will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
We'll have to go through and make
Okay.
sure.
And welcome back, everybody. All right, let's take a look. What else do we have? We know that each square an hour, so we know that part at least. Um, let's take a look at. So I think we're on the right track. It looks like, according to the hints. So it says Anthony's note tells you that the map of the Black Hills Forest was embedded with specific cues by its maker. You can use these cues to navigate between three major locations in the woods. By charting out these three locations, you will be able to discover the place where Carver is hiding. You can use the magnifying glass to find subtle clues. What do you know about the compass? Oh, hi. Hi, Kaido. Are you helping?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
He's like, so helpful. See?
Right?
See?
He is.
Oh, wait for it. Camera's about to get taken down.
Uh-huh.
Kittenzilla is in the house, guys. Oh, he's like so cute.
Right?
Oh. You do not want the pen. The pen is not what you seek. One thing about him, though, is he does not care. He does not give a crap. It's all about life and lovin's and belly rubbins and food. Lots and lots about the food.
Right? Okay. So we already know about the each square an hour. We'll help you map out the move we'll have taken through the forest in the historical document Anthony has given you. I guess we need to look at each of those.
Okay, guys, I'm going to get all those photos I've been taking of this map in.
Because we've already figured out the building record and the path that Ned describes.
He just never said anything about a white rock, did he?
No, he didn't.
He looked broken. And
So this next hint says, in the historical expedition, pay attention to the path that Aloysius Masters describes, taking from the bone white rock to the hermit's house. I don't remember reading about. Oh, yeah. To the hermit's house. Yeah. I have a feeling that each one of these is pointing us to the same square.
every single thing is like all four things are pointing.
All three. So the three historical documents that are giving us routes, I think all three routes end up in the same square.
Oh.
Or help you confirm.
Yeah.
So because we were talking about we didn't know which way for downriver.
Yeah.
But if we map out the directions that they took.
Yeah.
Where they said they found the vermin, and then they came across that hill.
Yeah.
So they would have come across. All right, Kaido, I got.
He's like, I'm getting belly love. Like, move it, Dad.
So they would have come across. So this is the vermin, and then they saw that there was smoke, and they came through a bunch of old oak trees.
Okay.
So we think that we
were saying R
1, 2, 3. So somewhere over here.
Yeah.
Or in this square.
You don't need doing that on screen.
So I would say then that that kind of confirms that it's on this side.
Mm-hmm.
And then because that when they said they traveled over one hill, they could see the smoke. When they came over the next, when they should have seen the cabin was gone. So
don't mind us, dude. Just don't mind us doing our job here.
And then the third one was the reenactment. So which is that let's look for there was a point I just don't know where this bone white rock is. That's the only problem. I don't know if it's that giant, like.
I'm trying to think if we had. Do we need to check the witness statements from the other episode? I know they kept talking about the hollow, but I thought the hollow had the white rock in it. Like I thought the white rock and the hollow were all in the same place. Move it, Stu. Hi, bub. Move it. No, I know you helping. I do. I do know you're helping. You're getting belly loves out of it. I cat in my life with like belly loves.
All right.
It's something about a small hollow.
Yeah, the hollow has the white tree.
Oh, okay. So that's where they killed her. She was killed at the white tree area.
Yeah.
Propriety died. Okay.
You're right.
Propriety thing was lost. So
yeah,
that's not the white rock though. Mm-hmm. That's what I was trying to figure out. I don't recall any other mentioning of the white rock then until today, maybe. Huh. I was trying to see if there's any reference to white rock, but I don't recall there was. I thought for some reason a lot of them had talked about sitting on a rock, but I'm not seeing that. You just keep saying a small hollow. That's all they describe it as, a small hollow. So if the hollow has the tree, then the rock is not in the same space.
Oh, I just found all of the writings.
Awesome.
It wasn't in the like.
We should probably make sure I didn't miss any. Yeah, I want to make sure I didn't miss any. Okay. How many are there? Because I had 9, 10.
Let me Let me see if I can do this.
You're good. I had 13 of them.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna do a screenshot of them as well.
Okay, sure. Because I named in red like where out they were on the map. Like I tried to name either a square it was on or next to, so people could like graph kind of like roughly where it was in reds.
All right, there we go. All right, so I got that in there at least as well. Let's see if I don't know. Oh, okay, so we can work it backwards. Got it. I don't know why I didn't think of this.
What?
Okay. So, in here, Good Neighbor talks about, or not Good Neighbor,
Good Feather, good.
No, this other guy, Master. Mr. Masters. So they talked about that. Where's the one that talked about the vermin? Because we know where the vermin are, right?
You mean the vermin, like the blood pool? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, all the rats, the vermin. This one up here, so we know where that's at.
Well, what I was reading just was talking about like blood pool something or something.
Right. Yeah, but what I'm looking for is where's the one about finding or looking for the house. The home was a small structure. Here we go. Okay. So seemed either quite sincere. Okay, so almost as soon as we let's see here. So I turned to Lawrence Johnson. So they started at the White Rock. So they're at the White Rock. They followed the stream toward the sound they heard. Almost as soon as we changed course, we came across a pile of dead rodents, 10 or more. They appeared to have died fighting one another. Then, as we neared a fork in the stream, we sighted a wisp of smoke in the distance at an angle from our current course.
So would you say that they went that direction towards this fork in the stream? Because
Yeah,
this is where the
so
rodents are.
because that's at 003. So here's the fork in the stream.
Oh, okay.
So I would say then
So wait, that's the bones? I thought that was the
no,
bones.
that's the bones. This is the vermin.
Oh, okay.
So when we're talking in here where it talks about that they appeared to have died fighting one another, all that stuff, that's this.
Yeah. In 2 hours. in that
So what
same
we're looking
direction.
for though is we want to know where the white rock is. So
Okay,
how long did they travel from the white rock to get to that vermin?
We camped on a large white rock once again, and we were about to set out from the stone when I noticed a faint sound. Man, calling for help. I turned to... They don't give any landmark, though.
Yeah.
He heard voices no one else did. And someone agreed to break from the planned course. From where we stood at the large white rock, we followed the stream towards the sound I heard. Did we know which direction the sound was?
Yeah, they followed the creek towards the split, so it was this direction is the way they
So
went.
they went that way.
So my guess is here, and then this is probably this writing of what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 04 maybe, and then P5 and Q6. So these right here, I'm guessing that's the path then that they took this way. So they came across here.
They went across the mountains?
Came back down, yeah, because remember they went across, because they went across this first little bit.
Okay.
And then as they crested the next one, the cabin was gone, but the smoke column was still there.
No. John eating Christmas lights. I'm going to kick you out if you keep it up, Bubba. Sorry, sweetie. We went to navigate a very short stretch of hill terrain. Our sightline of the house was interrupted by one of these hills. We managed to crest it. First was gone. We searched the entire area, but not one single one of us could find any trace of the cabin. Smoke stream remained in the sky where the cabin should have been.
Yeah.
They thought their minds had tricked them.
So we're thinking we determined R7? Is that what it was?
It was
or
3
9?
over from
No.
here.
Yeah, so
1, 2, yeah, R7. We at least
you're
start
still
there, and if
guessing
we're
that the
wrong-
answer is L7? Okay. So the Bone White Rock.
Does it tell us where the Bone White Rock is? Like,
Yeah, it does. It says it's at O2.
Okay, so you were right. So like, it's basically right above where the creatures are.
Mm-hmm. But that's kind of odd that they started at the Bone White Rock.
Yeah.
And then traveled. Oh, so they went this way then until they hit the split. So that somehow they started all the way up here, turned a different direction, came south. Well, I'm guessing south.
That's weird.
So, because you're supposed to be able to. You're supposed to basically be able to work your way backwards. The way this says it's supposed to be.
So which city were they heading from, though? Because if they came from 01, they didn't come from Burkittsville. I'm so confused on if they came from 01, they weren't in Burkittsville when they left.
Right.
I'm just confused. I guess, did Burkittsville exist then, though? Maybe Burkittsville didn't exist yet.
I don't know.
1886. That sounds pretty familiar.
How do we know that they came onto the map at 01?
1824, so it did exist. It existed as an 1824, so it existed.
I'm trying to remember that. I'm trying to remember how.
What?
It said, yeah, they came onto the map at 01, but I don't remember how we knew that.
I have no idea. That's what I was just asking, because that's the middle of nowhere, and Burkittsville's on the other half of the map.
Right. But basically, you're supposed to be able to then, once you determine where the hermit's cabin is, then you're supposed to be able to work your way backwards, which would be basically working your way from that cabin diagonal.
Oh, so the hermit's not at the cabin?
Huh?
I thought he was at the cabin. I thought this whole time he was hiding at his cabin.
Well, that's what we're trying to
Okay.
we're trying to figure out so that it's not at the cabin. We need to find out where the White Rock is because in order to find out where the locket was left, we need to start our route from where the White Rock is. But we didn't know where that was.
Okay, so we said it was O2.
Correct.
Dude, I'm
So
sorry.
if the Bone White
Done.
Rock is
You're done.
O2, I thought they returned back though, didn't they? They kept returning back to Burkittsville. Yeah. I have been a resident of the town of Burkittsville for the better part of 20 years. Doing okay?
He's totally rubbing it in that he can win and I can't.
Uh-huh.
I kicked him off and he jumped right back up here and is being all adorably lovey snugglies.
Because they returned back to town each day and went back out.
That's why I'm just trying to figure out how they were on the other side of the freaking
Right.
map at the start of this
All right.
conquest that day.
So let's see. So from here, the good neighbor thing, we need to map out where this locket got lost. So they start if we find the part where
Well, the locket was in the clearing. It was the hollow where the white tree was, right?
right, so where's that on the map? That's what we're trying to find out, I think.
Is where the hollow actually is?
Right, yeah. I think the actual location of it on the map. The grid coordinates.
Okay. All three of the things we've read are blending together.
Right.
You can just do
All right, so Bone White Rock is located at O2. If you want to look at the stuff, you need to look at the script and read through from where he says that they take her to the Bone White Rock, and then when they leave that area, what way they go. And that'll help with that. All right, I will be right back.
Okay. Hey, bud. I gotta do my job here. All right, script. Bone White Rock. No, that's not script. Yes, it's script. Okay. All right, so Bone White Rock. Okay. You'd be helpful. You could be. You could be helpful if you wanted to be. I think so. Okay. You're all right. All right. Let's try this again, guys. The Bone White Rock is at O2. Let's see what we got going on. So, oh no, this is the diary, isn't it? Sorry, guys, I'm a rookie at this. Left you with untalented hands here. I have you for a minute. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. There's the script. Okay. All right. Let's not. Yes, okay. Alright, so they basically took her out into the woods. O2 is the White Rock. So, courts have done their work. Suggested. Desiring to place distance between ourselves and the fair town, we traveled until we came upon a huge bone white rock. I suggested that we complete the deed here, as it seems a good spot as any. However, we soon began to hear a terrible noise. Sound of hundreds of crows cawing. Doubtless an omen. The witch was silent, the forest was not. The birds' sound echoed throughout the forest and amplified them hundredfold. As the others clutched their ears in pain, I found myself clutching my greatest comfort, a locket of my dear wife Propheti's hair to compose myself. Unwilling to remain in the same vicinity as the beast, we turned from our position at the rock and fled for 5 hours in total, going the opposite direction from where the cacophonous cawing sound emanated from. So O2 is here. The crows are there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that takes us into J2. So they left and went 5 hours away from the crows. So if they were here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, so now we're in J2. J2, let's see. We fled the noise. keep the wits about them. Continue straight forward on the course we had set away from the terrible noise. When at last the sounds of the crows had faded, and the forest was silent as a grave, save for the sounds of our party's steps, the witch finally broke her day-long silence. She requested that, where to be left to die, she would like to be left in the grove of trees that she often sat amongst in a moment of silent contemplation. We, being honorable and compassionate men, obliged, she turned at a slight angle and led us in a new direction, with myself directly at her back, keeping an eye out. As we walked, I began to hear my men murmur dreadful utterances about our children being doomed, but then they said they never said a word. Is there anything on here about people speaking randomly stupid? The ground with its dreadful murmurs will, careless travels for eternity.
Okay.
If they were in J2, and they
so
made some kind of a slight angle, they'd be heading down towards I3 then.
I3.
At least that's how I'm taking it, because they said it's a slight turn, and they kept thinking they were hearing voices, or the guy kept thinking he was hearing voices, but the people kept saying they weren't talking. So, after traveling for 2 hours in the witch's chosen direction, came upon a hollow with a white tree at its center. So if we were in J2 before the witch started leading, how would we know 2 hours? Would we be going across diagonally?
So we started in this one because I missed
started
it a
in
little bit.
O2. We went 5 over, so that's J2.
Okay, so went this way to J2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then it says, from here the witch chose the direction. She turned slightly. It doesn't say which direction she turned, just slightly. And that they walked for 2 more hours, and then they found the white tree.
Okay, it's turned slightly, heading to I2 because of the murmurs.
I don't know if it's I2 or I3. The murmurs
or
on
I3,
I3.
I mean, sorry, I3.
So that's the thing, though, is do we count, is that 1 hour from that square to that square because diagonal?
That's, I think, that we count that. I would think we do.
So should we go through that and then one more? So it's basically H4?
So I would say there. And then you said, so 2 hours. So diagonal, I would say H4 would be where they then ended. Right? They followed her direction 2 hours. So I would say then it would go another square, and then we would end up there.
Is there any other chance to clarify that, or is it the only time that they describe the white rock part, or not the white rock, but the tree part?
Let me see if there is. The last hint just says that pay attention to the path between the bone white rock and the witch's hollow. So let me see.
He felt agonizing sensation at the back of his neck when he left the hollow.
Right.
Don't know what that would have been.
Well, that's what, I think that's what we're trying to find is the hollow. So when he left the hollow, at that point we know that that's where we're trying to find.
I know. I was trying to backtrack it the other direction because we're guessing she went diagonally, but we have no proof of that. It's an assumption.
Well, so
with the way that they've
described
how you got back to town.
Right.
I was trying to see what direction he said he went, how many squares he crossed, whatever.
So I think that it's a safe assumption to say that it's diagonal because when we look at the movements of the other stuff that we were mapping, when they said that they made a slight turn, it was talking diagonal on the squares. Do we want to
try H4 then and just see?
Yeah, so let's see if it's H4. So
just that way, if it's wrong, we get a hit and we keep going.
Yeah, so H4 would be that.
Did we read through everything, or did we miss anything?
The only thing we didn't read through was the good fences stuff and the blog posts, which are it's kind of a little bit like I've been noticing is a little bit more fluff than anything.
It does add a little bit to like timeline or to people's characters. But...
Yeah.
It's not like usually essential to storyline stuff.
Right. So let's do that. So let's get to Kent case. Let me hit the tip line. All right, new message. So we're trying H4 is where we're going for, right?
So
Okay. Find out. Send. Message sent. Go to inbox. Okay, we have a message from Rosemary, and it is a recording.
we did it! Yay!
There we go. So
So is Rosemary going to defeat Carver? Or is she going to get killed by Carver now?
right, that's what we're gonna find out. I mean, this is episode 4. We got 2 episodes left, so let me clear this off of here and then close that. And we are going to open up. Actually, we're gonna wait on that. We're just gonna go over to here. And I need to make sure fix that part. Okay.
Next goes, ooh.
Right? Ooh. All right. Oh, wrong one. Okay, so here we go, Chan. We're going to. This is the audio recording from Rosemary that we got after submitting our answer. Let's see what it has to say. I have everything up high enough. Good. Let's do this.
Good. I've been waiting out here for a few hours. Something told me that you'd find me the answers that I needed today. Now I know where to go. Thank you. Whoa, hold on, boy. Hold on, let me get my bag. You know, it's kind of a relief to be out here. The house is unbearable. It's so quiet.
Okay.
And I hate being at the Silver Moon. I can't stand the looks everyone gives me. More and more lately, I've just been staring out into the woods. Or reading about the woods. Or sitting up in the middle of the night thinking about the woods. I know, buddy, I know. He seems antsy. I hope he'll be able to pick up a scent. I've noticed when I come out here to search for the boys that the further you go in, the quieter it gets. It's not a peaceful quiet, though. It's tense. Like the whole forest is holding its breath. Hud and I would come out here sometimes when we were first started dating. He knew all kinds of facts about nature. Moss grows on the north side of a tree, he'd say. I have no idea if that's actually true. We used to chase each other around and leave each other these little notes. And then a few years later, down the road, Hud started bringing Liam to cut wood with him until I lost him to this place.
Does she know that we're sending her to the Hollow?
So,
no.
go
Or
on and get
is she
my
just looking for
sons out of here.
the grid coordinate you gave her? So
Even if I have to
I think
end up
she's trying to
just
go
like
to wherever
HUD
she thinks her kids are staying
to do
at.
it.
well, right, but I think it's the same hollow with the same tree
Goodbye for now.
that they left notes for each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's heading out there. So we'll see what happens, I guess, and what our next contact will be for letter wise, because I mean, she's heading out into the woods, and that's where it's leaving it off at. So
Maybe Anthony will take over
maybe.
for her.
Yeah. Hopefully she doesn't go missing, and then Anthony's trying to message us saying like, "Hey, now she's gone too."
I tried to warn her, but some
right.
crazy lady won't listen to me.
So yeah, it's definitely.
I'm concerned about the kids, but if something happens to Tank, I'm going to be upset.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, really? She's taking the dog? All right. Well,
I'm
hopefully
sorry.
Tank.
After what happened to the crow in the last
Tank
thing,
is.
so horrible.
Hopefully Tank is a tank and can help survive out there.
God, I care more
But
about
right, Katie?
Okay. See,
Dog
I
better
love
live.
this community.
Yeah,
It's my issue,
exactly.
I care about the kids too, but
Yeah,
the dog should be a faithful companion. He's not choosing this wacky adventure.
right. So.
Well, yay,
that's
we
gonna be
figured
really
it
loud,
out.
Sorry.
Ooh, mine, that's happy.
Okay.
Very happy.
So I turned down the stream, but forgot to turn down yours before I hit start again on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think the last little bit that we have is that we can finish out with. So we have the Good Fences post. As well. So this is from Sarah Schroeder. I know I phrased this a bit dispassionately, right? Spill the tea. So dispassionately, when I made my first announcement, but I cannot stress enough how important it is that every resident of Burkittsville stays out of the Black Hills Forest. Since my last update, I have been finding piles of stones all around the outskirts of town on my walks, like something is slowly building a wall between us and the forest. The message couldn't possibly be any more clear. Whatever's in there wants to hurt anyone who sets foot into the forest. My children and I have been having nightmares just from the thought of what will happen next there, or happen there next. They've been waking me up in the middle of the night to ask me if they're going to go missing next. What am I supposed to tell them? I understand the concern for poor Tristan Kent and the urgency that many of you feel to resolve his disappearance, as well as the hope that came with finding some of Liam Kent's possessions in the forest, but none of this will end in anything but heartbreak. It never has, not even once. Andrea Tan, who was present for the search party's discovery, has informed me in no uncertain terms that Liam's things appeared to be arranged, not dropped. By trying to search the forest, aren't we playing directly into the hands of whoever or whatever took them? Anthony Rapinoe, are you serious? A woman has lost her children, and you're worried about what to tell yours about the situation? I agree. No one should be stepping foot into that place at all. I've been saying this ever since those college students disappeared, and still nobody listens. They interviewed my cousin for their little movie right before they vanished, and he said they seemed so sweet. Somebody should have warned them off their project. Sarah, I know you're acting in the best interest of the people in this town. Joanna Ingram, that was 20 years ago, and we don't know exactly what happened. Besides, those kids weren't from here. The people of this town grew up with that forest, and we know it better than anyone. Karen saying, agreed, the Kent family's business is their own. My heart goes out to Rosemary, or it really does, but at the end of the day, we all have our own people to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
So, not a lot of support right now. Right? Freaking Karen. So...
Just need one.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely not a lot of support right now for Rosemary.
Or though, because so many people have gotten hurt. I mean, that one person fell and got really injured at the creek last episode.
Right.
Like violently, like broken bone, I believe is what it was described as.
Yeah.
It's pretty trippy.
This is the blog.
Ooh, I see some drawings.
805, 12, Sunday, Saturday, Thursday, Wednesday. It starts at the bottom,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And you
right.
go
Okay.
towards the top, because the top is the most recent.
That's right. Okay. So we've got this is the blog entries as well. So Sunday, I just found two little figures in the front yard. They're made of sticks and twine, and they look vaguely human. I feel sick to my stomach and furious all at once. I spent all day in the museum wading through research that Anthony gathered for me about the other children who have gone missing. He's been helping me out as best he can, trying to teach me about the history of the area. He says he wants me to be armed with knowledge. I've avoided that kind of research until today because it felt like giving in to superstition. But I don't know what else to do at this point. Still, if any of this were real, someone would have found something in the woods by now. Sure, all legends come from a grain of truth, but that's a grain. We got some sticks with twine. This time there were 4 stick figures left out on the porch, all different sizes. I found them a few minutes ago when I accidentally stepped on the largest one when I was leaving for work. I've been watching the porch with Hud's gun in my lap all night, but no sign of Carver. I can barely keep my eyes open right now. Going to make myself another cup of coffee. A few minutes later, there was a stick figure waiting for me in my seat as soon as I got back. I dropped the cup and it shattered all over the porch. I managed to slice my palm open trying to pick up the shards. I can't go on living like this. Something has to give. Managed to sleep for a few hours. Dreamed about Liam and Tristan and Hudson sitting around a campfire. They grew and grew until it ate all 3 of them away.
Oh, it's horrible.
I'm going to lose them for good if I don't act now. I just know it. I've got to find Carver, but how? How can I do any better than the search parties have already been doing? This time, it was a direct message, a taunt, and an invitation. And God help me, I've got no choice but to answer it. I'm going to ask Anthony to help me out one last time, and then I'm going to send everything I've got to the detective. I think I finally have everything I need. I've got food, a map, a hunting knife, Hud's gun, plenty of batteries for my flashlight, a portable Wi-Fi hotspot, and tank. I'm ready to go. I just need to know where. So this is all leading up to, looks like in between and leading up to then us giving her the answer. So.
Cool.
Okay.
Yay.
So that's it, I think, for episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
Getting more intense.
Yeah.
It's
This one's been interesting because I've not been able to figure out like each episode what we're gonna do. Like there's no like sometimes it seems cliche the path you're going on like when you're eliminating down suspects like that. But like for this series because of the supernatural element to it, I have no idea on a monthly or like weekly which way we're going. Like it's very curious, creative, and honestly, some of these puzzles are tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit quicker actually episode tonight than a few of our previous episodes. But overall, I liked it. It had a bit of a challenge with the map and trying to figure out how to read it and how to get to the different points. And
it was nice not to have a straight up cipher.
I think like not thinking about backtracking stuff. Like I was just like, I think we would have been stuck in all honesty for a while more.
Yeah.
And probably would have grown more frustrated with it, not thinking about that.
I am still struggling with like how far out that was. That looked like 12 hours worth of walking.
Right.
They went from the town out that far. I mean, I just
so they walked for a while. Well, I mean, if each square is an hour, I mean, think about that. Yeah. You would have had to, if you left from Burkittsville.
They would have been walking for 12 to 20 hours dragging this woman through the woods. Like, it just sounds so goofy to me.
Right.
Like,
that's
I'm
the
not
only thing.
but like, I find that odd. But time is like not real out there. Like what you think time is and what time really is are not the same thing.
Right.
So, because like even Liam was talking about in the last episode, like when he was writing to his mom on that blue page, like that he was he was really like hungry and he doesn't even know when he last ate, as if like time was not
Right,
correctly
yeah.
flowing. So
So the mystery of the
it's
woods.
gonna be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, trying to figure some more stuff out and go from there.
I'm gonna step
I
away
think
though, 'cause I got a pup to
between
feed.
just to give you guys some extra stuff, I think between this episode and next episode, I am going to reach out to Hunt a Killer to try to get the podcast thing that happens between.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
extra content. It's not anything
Yeah.
that is needed specifically, but maybe try to get the podcast thing.
If not, we could always
and go
read
from
what
there.
we could always just take turns reading the first people, like where you could play one guy and I
Yeah.
play the other guy, and we can just read it if we need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so
Yeah.
there is the transcript. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's not quite the same, I don't think. So if we
No.
can't get the podcast, at least we could do that. It's
Right.
right back up.
Thunder. I think
shut your mouth. No.
I think Thunder actually might be correct.
Here. Holy crud. No.
Let me see if I can open up a calendar here and take a look.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I am thinking that it is going to be into next year.
Yeah.
So maybe in a couple weeks, but we'll go from there. Yep. So definitely can't do a week apart. I've tried it a few times and it makes it very difficult, unfortunately, with life and work and everything else. So
Just not enough time.
and a lot of other stuff that's going on right now. But we will go from there. And yeah. So thank you all. If you're watching this later on YouTube, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the content. We did hit our goal of 300 to hit before 300 for the end of the year. So I'm excited about that. I think currently as of this recording are at 308 subscribers. So that is a lot of you, and that is amazing.
That's awesome.
And we are so much appreciative of everything you all do when you all leave comments down below, and we see those. And if you haven't noticed, we're very good about trying to make sure we answer every single comment that you leave, or at least react to a comment if it isn't something specifically questioned. Or anything like that, and we really enjoy that interaction and seeing you all come in the live and helping us out with it and going from there. So but we will catch you all next time and be able to go from there. So stay safe, stay strange, and happy holidays and happy new year, and see you in the new year.